Good evening, Mr. Alator. This is Jimmy Woods doing my persuasion speech for Southern Crescent Technical College. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Woods. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about vegetarianism. First thing I'd like to talk about are the obvious health benefits of a more vegetarian diet. Obviously, meats are higher in fats, cholesterols, things of that nature than their vegetable counterparts. And vegetables specifically have quite a great deal of fiber in them, whereas meats have none. Fiber is a very essential thing that we consume that helps push our digestive waste out of our systems. Without enough fiber in our bodies, we'd have trouble going to the bathroom, which is obviously not a good thing. You can see here on the food pyramid that I printed out for you, meats are right up here on the top. They're a very small group that we should be consuming daily, whereas just below them are vegetables and fruits, and the largest portion of the pyramid are grains, cereals, things like that, breads. As you can tell, we should be consuming much more fruits, vegetables, and grains than we should meats, dairies, and fats. Unfortunately, here in the Western culture, here in the U.S., that's not always the case. There are other reasons, we should be thinking about that. Part of that is that livestock are fed hormones and steroids to help ward off diseases, things of that nature, and those hormones and steroids end up in our food supply, which when we consume them, build up levels in our bodies, which studies are being done now to find out if there's any correlation between those excess steroids and hormones that we're taking in our foods and newer diseases and disorders that are cropping up within humankind. Another good reason to consider vegetarianism is the obvious economical benefits. It costs quite a bit less to plant seeds in the ground than it does to raise livestock. And on average, it takes about 15 pounds of grain fed to a cow or a pig or something like that to produce 1 pound of edible meat for us. That's simple math. We're wasting 15 pounds of grain that we could eat to get 1 pound of meat. Whereas if we took those same 15 pounds of grain and fed them to people, it'd probably be enough food for us to feed the entire planet. Also, on the economical note, if we switched, cut out all the meats and stuff, and just bought fruits and vegetables and grains and things like that, on average we could cut about $4,000 a year from our food bills, grocery bills and whatnot. So that's something to consider as well. Obviously, there's also an environmental issue to think about. Livestock create a lot of CO2 gas and methane gas, which studies are showing now, and we're starting to see more and more of, raise greenhouse gases and cause our planet to warm. Whereas planting simple seeds in the ground and letting flowers or plants grow not only doesn't produce the same methanes and greenhouse gases, but also it actually reverses them, because those plants actually breathe carbon dioxide and put out oxygen, which of course we need to breathe. Also, the efficiency of it. It's much easier to ship grains and fruits and vegetables. They don't have to be refrigerated. So we can produce them on one side of the country, ship them to our side of the country, and they're still viable within a week or so. Whereas when we butcher livestock, cut up the meat, process it, then try to ship it across country, we have to freeze it. So there's a lot of time and fuel and things. Plants and stuff can be grown here locally. And as a matter of fact, it's great to buy from your local farms and produce stations and stands and stuff, rather than your local mega marts like Walmart, and Kroger, and Publix and such. In closing, I'd just like to mention that if for nothing else alone, considering vegetarianism would make you a much healthier person. Vegetarians on average live 7 years longer than people who eat meats regularly. And vegans, those individuals who are strict vegetarians, they don't eat any dairy, they don't eat any meat of any kind whatsoever, live an average of 15 years longer. So it's definitely food for thought, something to consider. If you'd like any more information, be sure to go to www.peta.org or www.saveourplanet.uk.co. Those are both great sources for additional information. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful evening.